Hi. In this short lecture, I want to talk to you about some of the models that we've come up with for relational dynamics. So, the first one that I want to discuss today is what's known as Knapp's stages of relational development. So, Knapp, a social scientist, came up with a series of stages that resemble a pyramid that represent the different stages in relational development in coming together and then coming apart, right? So as you'll see here on the diagram, the upside is relational development or relationship development, and it has 5 stages going up. And then over here on the right hand side, we have relationship dissolution. So this is when relationships begin to deteriorate or to fall apart. And there are 5 matching stages over here. And we'll talk a little bit about these different stages as we go along. So the first stage in the building of the relationship is the initiating stage. And this stage is usually very short. It's very brief, right? It can be as brief as just a handshake, friendly expressions. Hey, how are you? The kind of small talk that goes into meeting someone for the first time. And what's happening here is that we're indicating our interest in building a relationship with another person without really saying it directly. So human beings are notoriously difficult and irrational in some ways. Think about how much easier it would be if you just walked up to someone and said, "Oh, you look like an interesting person. I'm here to see whether or not we should be friends." Right? Or, "Hey, you look like a cool, attractive person. I just wanted to come up to see if we might be a good boyfriend, girlfriend," right? So because we can't say that, or we don't say that for whatever reason, right? The initiating stage is where we indicate our interest without really saying it. Now, because online communication lowers inhibitions for people, right? And we've talked about why that can happen. But because this happens, oftentimes this stage can unfurl very quickly online. And we know that online communication can be a good way for shy people to enter this stage that they're normally quite fearful of, right? So it's a lot easier many times for shy people to enter the initiating stage online. So the next stage that comes after that is the experimenting stage, and the experimenting stage is all about reducing uncertainty, right? It's during the stage that we get to know each other by gaining more information about one another. And so throughout this phase, we're looking for common ground. We're looking for similarities. This is where you try and find out more about the person. Hey, where are you from? What's your major? Right? We ask all those questions that we ask of people when we first meet them to find out whether or not this can go further. Right? In a way, you're auditioning the person. Right? Is it worth moving forward? Is it worth interacting with this person? Right? Now, again, we know that online this phase moves even more quickly than in person, right? And I usually stop here and I ask my students why this is the case, but because we're online, we can't do that. And I'll say simply that I think it's the case because number one, we're disinhibited, right? And number two, we're not that worried about the other person's feelings, right? In part through anonymity, in part just because we're used to getting really lean messages from one another, right? And so that allows this whole thing to move forward more quickly, and also more willing to self-disclose. So there's a more rapid divulging of information. So the next stage is the intensifying stage. And this is the stage that you typically see in romantic comedies, in movies, on television, right? This is the stage where there's lots of expressions of feeling, right? This is a stage where people spend a ton of time together. They do all kinds of sweet things for each other, and it's that whole period of that's just really intense when you meet someone, right? A time of relational excitement and euphoria. It's when this is, if there is such a thing as being in love, this is the time when you're just so in love with some person, right? Like, oh, I just love him so much, right? That's this stage. After that, we enter what's known as the integrating stage. And this is where people sort of, a couple combines into one person almost, right? So what happens during this stage is that friends start extending invitations to both of you instead of just to one of you, right? As a couple, you share a circle of friends. It's not his friends and her friends anymore. It's your friends together as a couple. It's when you share commitments, right? Whose house are we going to go to for Thanksgiving this year, right? That's the kind of question that people in the integrating stage will ask one another. And we also find during these stages that couples tend to take on each other's mannerisms and characteristics. This is where they begin acting more like one another. And as a result, ultimately, they start to develop a shared identity. So they become part of one another. I often think of this when people combine other people's names when they're in a relationship, like, I don't know, like Brangelina, right? When Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were together. Brangelina. That portmanteau is what it's called when you combine words like that. That portmanteau is a really good example of the integrating stage, right? Where you take two different people, but they seem to sort of form one social identity. So the next stage is the bonding stage, and it's full of symbolic public gestures. And these symbolic gestures include things like engagement, marriage, living together, any kind of ceremonies or public statements of togetherness, right? And it doesn't have to be, by the way, an expression of romantic togetherness. It can include things like fraternity initiations or sorority initiations, contracts. A contract is a symbolic public gesture. You're declaring, hey, when you sign a contract on a house, hey, I'm going to pay this guy or this girl a bunch of money, and they're going to give me this house. And you're letting everybody know, right? It's on file at the courthouse. So that it's actually a public gesture, right? It's a public document. And so all kinds of induction ceremonies, like when you graduate, for example, that's an example of a symbolic public gesture. Hey, they've accomplished this thing. Now they're part of this new community, right? And so Knapp says this is the peak stage. So when you get married, when you move in with each other, right, this is sort of the peak stage of the relationship. This is the apex of it. So after that, we start coming down the other side. And the relationship can start to dissolve. And so the first stage in this is the differentiating stage. And what we find is that for all the work people did at forming a single social identity during the upside of this, that in the beginning of the downside, they begin to break up that social identity, right? They start sending more me messages using more I language. Well, I think, or I'm the one who does this, my bank account, right? These kinds of things. And this usually begins, the differentiating stage usually begins when the relationship comes under stressors, when there are problems, right? Financial problems, health problems, social problems, what have you, right? So the next stage is the circumscribing stage, and this is where people stop communicating as frequently, right? They withdraw from one another, mentally and or physically, right? They spend less time in the same room with one another. They spend less time talking with one another. At the same time, we see a shrinking of interest and commitment to one another. Again, more distinctions are made in this stage, right? So all the distinctions that emerge during the differentiating stage become even stronger. My bank account, your friend. And what happens is there are more areas of separation than of integration. Right? There's more differences than commonalities. The next stage is the stagnating stage. So there's no relational growth at all. You get bored with one another. It feels like you're just living through a routine. The next stage is the avoiding stage, and this can be either purposeful, direct, or indirect. So we find, for example, that many unsuccessful couples deal with problems by avoiding them, by avoiding one another, by not talking about things, by being involved less and less with one another. And people who reach this stage might manage to save their relationships, but in order to do so, they have to work towards direct forms of communication. They have to talk. And then finally, there's the terminating stage, and this is the last stage of dissolution. It can either be really short, or it can be drawn out for months, if not even years in some cases. Now, it's important to realize that a dissolving relationship might not go straight to this phase, right? You might sort of start down and then come back up a little, or you might start down and come back up all the way, right? But once you get here, right, it's you can't really come back, right? So it's also important to note that friendships after this phase can still be possible, but the communication has got to be positive, right? We have to maintain positive communication with each other if we hope to maintain any kind of relationship after the terminating stage. So, for example, posting something like this, as this one angry fella obviously did, probably wouldn't lead to a lasting relationship. So during this phase, oftentimes what occurs is we put what's called grave dressing on our relationships. And this is where we create narratives about what went wrong. This is where we explain to ourselves and our friends, oh, well, I wanted to stay married, but she just wouldn't stop spending money. Or she slept with my sister, or what have you. And it's during this phase that we decide on the story that sort of convinces us and other people that we did the right thing. All right, so in the next short lecture, I'll talk to you about some of the criticisms of Knapp's model, and we'll talk about dialectical perspectives. Okay, thanks for checking this out.